Have you ever felt that your legs grow heavier after just a short walk? Or that every morning, your knees crack a little louder as if whispering, age is catching up? I understand that feeling. I have met hundreds of patients just like you, people who once thought, well, I guess that is just part of getting older. But the truth is, your body is trying to tell you something much deeper. Once we reach 60, the amount of collagen in our bodies drops by nearly 75% compared to our younger years. Collagen is like the hidden framework that keeps everything standing strong. It keeps your joints flexible, your blood vessels elastic, and your skin firm. But when that framework weakens, everything starts to wobble a little. I remember Linda, a 67-year-old woman from Florida. She told me that every afternoon, after a simple walk around her yard, her calves would swell and feel heavy. At first, she blamed the weather, but in truth, it was her body's way of showing that the collagen in her blood vessels and joint tissues had declined. When collagen fades, the joints lose their cushion, they stiffen, ache, and resist every step. Your veins lose flexibility, making your legs swell, tingle, or even turn slightly bluish around the ankles. Your skin grows thinner, bruising easily at the lightest touch. Imagine this, my friend. Collagen is like the strings of a fine instrument that keep your body in tune. When those strings loosen, the music of life loses its rhythm. But the beautiful thing is, you can tighten those strings again, slowly, gently, every single day, simply by nourishing your body the right way. So remember this, swollen legs or weak joints are not the sentence of old age. They are gentle reminders that it is time to care for the very frame that holds you up, because your body can still be stronger, steadier, and more alive than you think. I know what you are wondering right now. What exactly is collagen, and why does it affect my legs, my joints, even my skin so much? Let me explain it in the simplest way possible, not like a medical lecture, but more like a story about your own body. Collagen is one of the most remarkable proteins we have. It is like a web of strong, flexible threads that hold your entire body together, from your skin and tendons to the cartilage in your joints, and even the walls of your blood vessels. Without collagen, the body is like a house without a frame. The walls might still look nice, the roof might be solid, but even a light breeze could make the whole thing tremble. In medicine, we usually talk about three main types of collagen. Type 1, found in your skin, tendons, and ligaments. It keeps your skin firm and your joints flexible. Type 2, found mostly in your joint cartilage. It helps reduce friction every time you move. And Type 3, found in the walls of your blood vessels and in soft tissues, keeping your circulation smooth and steady. I remember one of my patients, Charles, 70 years old, a retired carpenter. He once told me, "Doctor, sometimes it feels like my knees grind against each other when I climb the stairs." And he was right. When collagen breaks down, the joints lose their smoothness, blood flow slows, and the skin becomes thinner, more fragile, bruising even with the lightest touch. That is not just a sign of aging. It is a message from your body, telling you that the foundation beneath it all has started to weaken. So imagine this, my friend. When you were younger, your body was like a full orchestra, and collagen was the main instrument, keeping everything in harmony. But after 60, those strings start to loosen. The music becomes uneven. The rhythm fades. The good news is, you can still replace those strings. Through the right foods, daily habits, and a mindful way of living, your body can rebuild its own collagen naturally and beautifully. And that is exactly what I want to share with you next: 7 natural ways to help your body restore its collagen, ease swelling in your legs, and bring strength back to every step you take. When I tell people that their bodies can still replace the strings of their collagen, someone always asks me, "Dr. Ellison, where should I start?" My answer is always the same: start with the liver. It is one of the quietest, yet most powerful organs you have. Most people think the liver is only a filter, a machine that cleans out toxins. But in truth, It is more like the central power station of your body, creating the nutrients that jumpstart the process of rebuilding collagen. Inside the liver live 4 powerful allies: vitamin A, zinc, copper, and glycine. I like to call them the restorative quartet. When these 4 are present in balance, your body begins to reactivate its own collagen factory deep inside you. I remember one of my patients, David, a 64-year-old man from Texas. He came to me with swollen knees and a constant sense of fatigue. When I asked about his diet, he said, "I avoid all organ meats. Doctor, I am afraid of cholesterol." I just smiled and told him, "A small amount of liver will not harm your heart. It will actually help your heart and your joints work more smoothly together." So we added a small portion of beef liver to his meals, just once a week, about 70 to 100 grams. 3 weeks later, he came back with a quiet smile and said, "I do not know what changed, but this morning I walked down the stairs and my knees did not hurt at all." You see, my friend, strength does not always come from expensive pills or complicated treatments. Sometimes it comes from the simplest things. Even a small serving of liver can act like a spark, a source of energy that helps your body rebuild collagen, keeps your joints flexible, your skin supple, and your blood vessels strong. Imagine this: if collagen is the frame of your house, then your liver is the steady craftsman behind the scenes, quietly replacing the weak wooden beams with new, sturdy ones. No one sees him working, but because of him, the house stands tall year after year. I often tell my patients, the liver provides the energy, but it is your legs that awaken it. You see, collagen does not just come from what you eat, it also comes from movement. From every step you take, every breath you draw, every gentle stretch you make. There is something fascinating about the human body that many people never realize. Your body only begins to create new collagen when it is reminded that it is still alive, still moving, still capable. When you walk slowly, stretch your arms, or take a few light movements in the morning, the cartilage cells and connective tissues in your body come alive again. They begin to clock in, just like workers returning to the factory after a long break. I remember one of my patients, Judith, a 65-year-old woman from Arizona. After she retired, she barely left the house. Her legs were swollen, her joints stiff, and she believed, "I just do not have the strength to exercise anymore." I told her, "You do not have to exercise, you only need to move." We started small, just 10 minutes of walking each morning. Then we added gentle ankle circles, knee bends, and a few arm stretches. 3 weeks later, she smiled and said, "Doctor, I am not only walking easier, I feel lighter in my mind, too." And that is exactly what happens. When your body moves, blood flows better, oxygen reaches your tissues, and collagen begins to rebuild itself more quickly. Imagine this, my friend, every time you move, it is like flipping on a tiny collagen switch. The more you move, the more that switch stays on. But when we sit still for too long, the factory falls asleep, joints stiffen, muscles weaken, and we begin to feel older faster. So please, do not think that youth only lives in the gym. Sometimes a quiet morning walk around your garden or a few gentle stretches before bed can be the simplest way to help your body heal itself. Let movement become your small daily ritual, not to make you tired, but to remind your body of one simple truth: I am still alive, and I am still recovering. After the body has been awakened through movement, the next thing it needs is fuel for recovery. And to me, there is nothing more comforting, simple, and truly effective than a warm bowl of bone broth. I still remember the very first morning I shared my bone broth recipe with one of my patients, Evelyn, 72 years old, from California. She said, "Doctor, I have tried every kind of collagen supplement, but my legs still feel heavy and my knees still crack." I smiled and handed her a small piece of paper. "This week," I told her, "skip all the powders and pills, just make bone broth." She laughed. "You mean like my mother used to make?" And I nodded, "Exactly. Your body has always trusted what is natural. Bone broth is not some modern health trend. It is an old tradition, a classic way of healing. When you simmer bones for 18 to 24 hours, they release powerful nutrients, collagen types 1, 2, and 3, along with glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid. These are what I like to call the golden pair. They help cushion your joints, reduce swelling, improve circulation, and even restore the elasticity of your skin. Imagine this. My friend, each spoonful of bone broth is gently patching tiny gaps in your cartilage, tendons, and blood vessels quietly, patiently, and faithfully. After a few weeks, many of my patients tell me, my legs feel lighter, my skin looks smoother, and strangely, my mood feels brighter. That is not magic, that is the natural recovery of collagen, nourished right from your own kitchen. If you are making bone broth from chicken, beef, or fish, be sure to add a splash of apple cider vinegar. It helps draw out the minerals and collagen from the bones into the broth. And when the broth cools down, if it turns into a soft, jelly-like texture, congratulations. You have just made what I like to call the golden soup of youth. I often tell my patients, you do not need to drink collagen, you can eat it. And sometimes, just one warm cup of broth in the morning is enough to remind your body that you are still caring for it in the most gentle, natural way possible. I often tell my patients, you can eat well and you can drink well, but if you do not sleep well, your body will never truly recover. Because sleep is not just rest, it is the moment when healing begins. In the quiet darkness of deep sleep, something remarkable happens. Your tissue cells begin to rebuild. Collagen is produced at its highest level, and your body releases the very hormones that restore and repair. If the daytime is when we feed the body with nutrients, then the nighttime is when those nutrients are turned into new life. I remember one of my patients, George Miller, a 67-year-old man from Texas. He came to see me about chronic joint pain, even though he had been drinking bone broth every single day. When I asked more questions, he admitted, "Doctor, I only sleep 4 hours a night. I figured at my age, sleep does not really matter anymore." I looked at him and smiled. It is not age that makes you tired. George, it is lack of sleep that keeps your body from healing itself. We started simple. No coffee after 2 in the afternoon, turn off screens an hour before bed, and soak your feet in warm water each night. 2 weeks later, he returned, his eyes brighter, his voice lighter. He said, "Dr. Ellison, I finally slept through the whole night, and this morning, my knees did not feel stiff at all." That is the quiet miracle of deep sleep, the most natural, most powerful therapy your body could ever give itself. Imagine this, my friend, while you sleep, your body becomes a construction site, lights flickering on as the collagen workers return to rebuild mending tissue, softening joints, repairing blood vessels, and restoring the glow of your skin. But when you cut your sleep short, it is like turning off the lights before the work is done. So please, do not think of sleep as a reward. Think of it as the foundation, because without it, every other effort is only temporary. And believe me, your body will thank you every single morning when you wake up feeling lighter, pain-free, and more alive than you have felt in years. After you have had a deep night's sleep, your body is ready for the next stage, rebuilding. And during that process, there is one quiet helper I always like to mention: gelatin. Many people think gelatin is just that sweet, wobbly dessert you find in a pudding cup. But to me, gelatin is the gentlest form of collagen, easy to digest, easy to absorb, and especially kind to bodies over 60. You see, as we age, our stomach loses some of its strength to process complex proteins. Gelatin, in its natural form, is simply collagen that has been gently broken down into a form your body can absorb almost instantly. I remember one of my patients, Helen, 68 years old, from Seattle. Her joints were weak, especially in the mornings. I suggested something simple. Dissolve 1 spoonful of unflavored gelatin in a warm cup of tea each day. She looked surprised. "That is it? No medicine?" I smiled and said, "Sometimes the simplest things are what your body understands best." 3 weeks later, she sent me a short email. "Doctor, I just walked around my block without stopping once. You see, gelatin is rich in 3 key amino acids: glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. Together, they make up more than 70% of the collagen structure in your body. Glycine helps calm inflammation. Proline protects the cartilage, and hydroxyproline keeps your tendons, joints, and skin elastic. They are like the 3 building blocks that nothing else can replace. I often tell my patients, if collagen is the wall, then gelatin is the small bricks you use each day to patch and strengthen it. The beauty of gelatin is that you do not need much. Just 1 small spoonful stirred into warm tea or coffee in the morning, a few times a week, and you will start to feel the difference. Your joints will move more smoothly, your legs will feel lighter, and even your sleep may deepen thanks to the calming effect of glycine. Remember this, my friend, gelatin is not a miracle. It is simply nature's quiet way of telling your body, keep rebuilding. I am helping you, little by little. Sometimes it is not that you lack collagen, it is that the new collagen your body makes is quietly destroyed before it even has a chance to help you. And the silent culprit behind that is chronic inflammation. I have seen this with so many of my patients. They eat well, they take collagen every day, yet their joints still ache, their legs still swell, their skin keeps thinning little by little. When I look closer, I often find the same thing: their bodies are living in a constant, low-level state of inflammation. No fever, no sharp pain, but inside, the cells are being damaged bit by bit, day after day. The causes are familiar ones: high blood sugar, long-term stress, late nights, and diets filled with processed foods. All of these trigger inflammatory molecules, tiny sparks that quietly attack collagen, breaking down the very fibers we worked so hard to rebuild. I remember Charles, the 70-year-old carpenter I mentioned earlier. Even after he started drinking bone broth and using gelatin, his knees still ached. When I asked how he was doing, he sighed and said, "I eat well, I sleep well, but I worry so much about my son. Sometimes I think my stress makes the pain worse." And he was right, because inflammation does not only come from food, it also comes from emotion. Those quiet worries, those sleepless nights spent thinking too much, they are small fires that slowly burn through your collagen without you even realizing it. Imagine this. My friend, collagen is like a bridge across a river. It stays strong when the waters are calm, but if the current of inflammation keeps raging beneath it, the pillars will weaken over time. So protecting your collagen also means calming the current within you. Start with the simplest things. Eat more leafy greens, salmon, flaxseed, and olive oil foods rich in omega-3s that help your body cool inflammation naturally. Drink enough water, sleep deeply, and every day, find a moment to let your mind unclench, maybe a quiet walk, or just a few slow, steady breaths. I always tell my patients, you cannot heal while you are still holding on to worry. When your mind softens, your body can finally begin to heal, and only then will your collagen truly have a chance to live and last within you. Once we have learned how to calm the body, the best thing you can do for your joints is to nourish them from deep within. And one of the simplest, yet most powerful foods for that is bone marrow. When I was a boy, my mother used to make beef marrow soup on cold winter days. She called it the meal of strength. Many years later, as a doctor, I finally understood why. Bone marrow is the body's natural lubricant. Inside it are type Y and type 2 collagen, along with hyaluronic acid and glycosaminoglycans, the very compounds your joints need to move smoothly, reduce friction, and stay supple through the years. In other words, every spoonful of marrow is like real lubrication, not for an engine, but for the legs that have carried you through life. I remember one of my patients, Robert Hayes, 72 years old, a retired engineer from Colorado. When he first came to me, his knees were swollen, especially in the cold. Instead of prescribing more medicine, I told him, this week, try something your body once loved, a bowl of slow-cooked bone marrow. He laughed. Doctor, I have not eaten that in decades. 3 weeks later, he returned and said, my joints feel lighter, and it is as if my whole body has been oiled again. You see, Bone marrow does more than feed your joints. It strengthens your blood vessels, improves circulation, and supports the healing of soft tissues. You can roast marrow bones in the oven and spread it on whole grain bread, or simmer them with vegetables and a touch of apple cider vinegar for 12 to 24 hours to create a rich, nourishing broth. The secret is not in fancy cooking. It is in the quiet, consistent habit of feeding your body what it truly recognizes as healing. I often tell my patients, your body is like a classic car. It does not need to be replaced. It just needs the right oil to keep running smoothly. And bone marrow, my friend, is that precious oil from nature made to keep your legs strong for all the miles still ahead? Many people ask me, Dr. Ellison, all of this sounds wonderful, but how do I actually make it part of my daily life? And I always tell them, start small but stay consistent, because in medicine, consistency always wins over perfection. You do not need to change your whole life overnight. Just place a few small habits in the right moments of your day, and your body will begin to restart its natural ability to heal. In the morning, before you eat, drink half a cup of warm bone broth. It gently wakes your stomach, warms your body, and helps you absorb collagen more effectively throughout the day. If you do not have much time, just reheat the broth from the day before. Simple, but deeply effective. A few times a week, add 1 spoonful of gelatin into your morning tea or coffee. That tiny addition provides the raw materials your joints and blood vessels need to stay flexible and strong without causing bloating or discomfort. And if you enjoy something sweet, make a small fruit jelly using gelatin. It is both a treat and a quiet gift for your collagen. Once or twice a week, have a small portion of beef liver or marrow stew. You do not need much. About 70 to 100 grams is enough. Quality matters far more than quantity. I always remind my patients, your body does not need you to be perfect. It just needs you to be patient. And if you can combine these simple habits with a good night's sleep, 15 minutes of light movement, and a diet lower in sugar and white starches, you will be amazed at what begins to change in just 2 or 3 weeks. Your knees move more easily, your legs feel lighter, your skin looks brighter and healthier. That is the quiet sign that your collagen is coming back to life. Remember, taking care of your body is not a race. It is a gentle journey, 1 meal, 1 walk, 1 night of rest at a time. Because sometimes, the secret to staying young is not found in a pill, but in the warm cup of tea you hold in your hands each morning. There is something I always tell my patients: aging is not a decline. It is a process of renewal. If we learn how to nurture it the right way, many people believe that growing older means losing everything: our strength, our memory, even our faith in ourselves. But I see it differently. To me, aging is the body's quiet way of saying, it is time to slow down and begin to heal. When you reach your 60s, you do not need to move faster. You simply need to pause long enough to listen to your own body. Sometimes just 1 small change, a simple meal, a full night of sleep is enough to restart a healing journey you thought was long over. I remember Mrs. Eleanor Hughes, 68 years old, from Georgia. She once asked me, "Doctor, can I really get better, or is it too late for me?" I smiled and said, "It is never too late as long as you still want to take care of yourself." 3 months later, she came back to see me with the brightest smile on her face. She said, "I can walk with my husband every morning again, just like when we were newly married." In that moment, I knew sometimes the real miracle does not come from medicine. It comes from patience and from faith. You see, a body that is loved will always try to heal. All it needs is your permission through small, gentle habits, through every breath, through every night of good sleep. Collagen does not only rebuild joints or skin, it rebuilds your belief that age does not define your strength. So do not tell yourself it is too late. Begin today with a warm cup of bone broth, a spoonful of gelatin, a real meal, and a peaceful night's rest. Those simple acts aren't repeated every day. Quietly weave back the framework of your whole body so that you do not just walk steady, you live fully, deeply, and truly. My name is Dr. Robert Ellison, and I want you to remember this: health is not a gift of youth. It is the reward for those who have the patience to care for themselves with love. If this message gave you even a little hope, share it with someone who might need it, because your small act today might help someone else walk a little easier tomorrow. And if you would like to continue this healing journey with me, follow this channel. Each week, we will share another quiet conversation about how to live well, live slowly, and live in peace.